Dave O'Brien.
We're speaking with Don Henley, who will be here with the Eagles for the Hotel California tour. What is it like for you to look over and see Deacon Fry on stage playing with the Eagles?
It's heartwarming for starters, and it's striking because when I'm on the drums and he's in front of me, he looks so much like his dad from the back, the hair and the posture and everything, and it's a little bit surreal.
Peter Frampton's new album is called Frampton Forgets the Words. Back to the David Bowie track that you did, Loving the Alien. You didn't just have a professional relationship with Bowie. Your relationship went back with him to the very hometown you both are from.
Yes. We both come from Bromley, and yes, my father was his art teacher for 4 years.
Greg Harris, President and CEO of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum. Who are the nominees for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for 2022?
We have 17 nominees this year. We announced them just a few minutes ago, and I will read the list off.
The lead singer and flute player of Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson. You had a rather unlikely success story. I mean, you were a very strikingly different band from a lot of what was going on around you. You had tights and boots and a codpiece and a flute. You're named after an obscure historical figure and, songs about creepy perverts on park benches. It seemed like a very unlikely success story for the band.
I think sometimes it's the unlikely that actually does generate interest.
It wasn't like you had played the flute all your life and joined a band. While you were in the band, you decided to add the flute. Is that correct?
Well, I was a guitar player in my late teenage years until I heard Eric Clapton and realized I was not going to be that good. So I just, on a whim, got a flute.
Michael Anthony. Michael, welcome.
What's up, Dave?
And it'll practically be a hometown show for the Circle guitarist Vic Johnson, who is from Colorado Springs. Is he hitting you up for all your comp tickets for his friends and family?
Good job. No, Vic invites a couple family members. I don't think he wants a lot of guests there. I guess, put too much pressure on him.
Right? You don't want your cousins making fun of you or your mom standing up trying to get your attention while you're playing?
Oh, believe me, I went through a lot of that in the early days of Van Halen. Every time we hit Chicago, I had so many relatives out there. And there's nothing like going like back then, going to a record store and doing an in-store signing, and all of a sudden somebody comes walking up to Dave and going, "Hey, Dave, this is Mike's Auntie Vicky. Can you sign me an autograph?" Oh boy, that'll make you fold up real fast.
That just takes the whole rock star image right out of the room, doesn't it?
Exactly. You got a couple hundred kids looking at you going, "Wait, that's your Auntie Vicky?"
Alan Parsons. I hope you don't mind if I take you through a little bit of your history, because it's fascinating, because once you work with the Beatles, then you move on to working with Pink Floyd, who were in Abbey Road Studios also, and you engineered one of the most successful albums of all time, Dark Side of the Moon. That album, I'm sure for an engineer, was a lot of fun. You were working with some new technology. I know Roger Waters was a big fan of digital stuff, and anything new he was always doing. There was sound effects and voices and looped effects on that.
It's an engineer's dream, really. For example, the on time, that I've got these amazing recordings of antique clocks ticking and striking, and then I played these tapes to them, and they said, "Yeah, great. We'll use this on the intro of Time." And that became a sort of iconic moment on the album.
Absolutely. Not just sound effects, but also a lot of spoken voices are on that album. Are you any of those spoken voices at any point?
No, but I auditioned for them, and it was all a series of questions on index cards that that all the people that you hear talking, answered. The star of the show was the janitor, the guy that you hear saying there is no dark side of the moon.
You were in good company. I understand Paul McCartney was also interviewed, and they didn't use his answers because he was trying to be kind of funny.
Right, yes. Paul was equally unimpressive with his answers. There's one funny story with Henry McCulloch, who was Paul's guitarist at the time. He one of the questions on the cards was, when did you last thump somebody? Meaning, when did you take a punch at somebody? And first of all, he said it was New Year's Eve, and then after that, you hear him say, "I was really drunk at the time." And then his wife comes in and answers the question, and she says, "When did you last thump someone?" And she said, "New Year's Eve." So it was clearly clearly a rift between the two of them.
Oh my gosh. That's a story behind that quote that we're all very familiar with that I was not aware of at all. Tom Peterson has played bass for Cheap Trick since they first started nearly 50 years ago. Well, you had such a unique start to your career in that you guys released a couple of albums here in the U.S. that were, embraced but didn't set the world on fire, let's say.
I'd say that's an understatement. Yes, it is.
And then you go to Japan and you record a live concert where the audience screams at you for the entire album like you're the Beatles.
That's right. I don't know how the heck that ever happened. We'd done a couple of shows with Queen right at first, and Queen were huge in Japan, and so there was Japanese press at all their shows, and they got to look at us, and all of a sudden we started getting some fan mail from Japan out of the blue, and then we went on tour with Kiss right after that. And they were huge in Japan too. And we went over there, played at Budokan, and they wanted to do a TV show of us. So can we film this for TV and have an hour-long show? Sure. And then they did that, and they said, hey, maybe we'll put this out as a record in Japan only. Okay, fine, whatever. So we did that, and it just took off worldwide, just by a fluke. If we'd known it would be that successful, we'd have put a lot more thought into it. When we got there, we didn't even have the song "I Want You to Want Me" in our set list. We were back there doing, getting ready to go on, and the promoter goes, "Hey, where's I Want You to Want Me?" Well, we don't do that song anymore. It never got anywhere. We don't even play it. They said, "Oh no, that was number one here." What? Okay, so it's like, all right, we'll put it in there.
Oh, that is amazing.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? It's a joke.
I hope you sent a fruit basket or a thank you card to that promoter later.
Not yet.
Oh.
We're going to.
Okay, still on the to-do list for Tom Peterson of Cheap Trick. This month, Whitesnake is releasing the Blue album with Whitesnake blues-influenced songs. And here to talk to me about all of that is David Coverdale. Hello.
We're not Irish, are we?
I am of Irish descent. Is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, I'm the same with you, man. Top of the morning, sir.
Oh, top of the morning to you. It's been a couple of generations since my people lived in that part of the world, but I am authentically an O'Brien.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, I'm just missing the old Coverdale. Yeah, I was raised on Irish rebellion songs by my nana and my mam. Of course, that was when my father's back was turned. Otherwise, there would have been some serious poop hitting the fan.
Talking to Robby Krieger of The Doors. One last question about Jim Morrison, because I've been to his grave in Paris, and I've seen how people have idolized him and turned that into a shrine. I also saw at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum some Christmas cards that he made as a child for his parents in a 10-year-old's handwriting and kind of a crude drawing that really humanized him for me. After I'd seen the idolization of him, you knew him as a human. How much of what we saw was the man, and how much was kind of this manufactured myth, or was there a difference even?
Well, he could be the nicest guy in the world, like when especially when I first met him when he was still at UCLA, and he was just, really, really kind of shy, The bad part was when he started drinking, and, he told us that when he was in college, he used to drink too much, and then people used to have to carry him home and stuff. So when he drank, if he had too much, man, there would be a switch would flip, and he would just become a total asshole. That wasn't my favorite part of Jim Morrison.
Steven Van Zandt is the guitarist in Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. He's also an actor. He played Silvio on The Sopranos. Steven, Little Steven, Miami Steve, Silvio. What do you prefer, my friend?
Stevie is fine.
I think a lot of people were very surprised when you left the E Street Band, but you really go into detail in the book about what that was all about.
Yeah, I've had a terrific career, really two careers with both E Street Band and Sopranos. My dog is participating today. Hang on.
What kind of dog do you have? Because it doesn't sound like the kind of dog I would imagine Steven Van Zandt would have.
It's a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel.
That's a little fancy for you.
Well, it's my wife's dog.
Roger Glover from Deep Purple joins me right now. I still have on vinyl the 1983 album The Mask, your solo album.
Well, thank you for that, yeah. looking back at it, to me, it's very much an 80s thing. I was trying to be current. I don't want to write hard rock songs, because why would I be in competition with the band I'm in?
Dave O'Brien,